You're live.
Thank you, Ben.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a school board meeting on Monday, February 12th, 2024. And we're going to start by calling it to order. It is 6:06 p.m. And so roll call, please.
Mark Carlton.
Dan Murphy.
Katie Misfelt. 1.2, can we all stand for the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. 1.3, agenda review and approval. Dr. Long, anything we need to add?
I have no adjustments tonight.
So I just need a motion to approve the agenda as it is.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as is.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Alright.
Aye. 2.0 is consent agenda. 2.1, correction approval of the regular meeting minutes for January 8th, 2024, and our special meeting for January 29th, 2004. I read these earlier. If anyone else?
I had no changes.
No? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Two meetings.
Previous two meetings.
January 29th.
Thank you, Dan. All in favor? Aye. Okay, 3.0 is our communication reports. 3.1 is Peak Falls Charter School Natural Resource Center, Mr. Carlo. Do you want to come up here?
Sure, why not? I'm not camera shy.
Yeah.
Well, good evening. I wanted to let you know some of the goings on down at the NRC. So the first thing I wanted to report on is the Outdoor School Conference. So as a representative of the NRC, I was able to attend the statewide gathering for outdoor school providers a couple of weeks ago. And this was a great opportunity to connect with other outdoor school providers as well as work collaboratively, because there are a number of problems that most outdoor schools are kind of facing right now across the state. So we're able to problem solve that both in some formalized times and some workshops, as well as some informal time for conversation. Also, I had the opportunity to network with several key people in the outdoor school space in Oregon. So I was able to interface with the outdoor school program director, which is someone that's housed up at Oregon State University and oversees the entire program for outdoor school all across the state. I was also able to interface with the Friends of Outdoor School Associate Director, and he's actually someone that I have talked with via email, but actually talking to him in person, and he will be coming down to visit the NRC sometime this spring, probably the middle of April. And then I was also able to talk with the Gray Family Foundation Executive Director, as well as their grant person. And I've worked with them both pretty closely on several of the grants that we've been getting, and able to kind of keep them up to date with what we're doing, that there is definitely some more funding for us for some different things. We have currently used 2 of their different grant avenues, and there's a couple others that will be open to us now that we're going to be looking at using. So Dr. Long and I will be looking at some of the ways that we can utilize some funding through them again in the coming months. And as I say, there's several people that are interested in seeing what we're doing at the NRC, both in terms of the kind of key headlining people, but then there's also several people from other outdoor school programs that are interested in what we're doing. And one of the things we were encouraged to do at this meeting was to be able to talk with others and collaborate. So there's a couple outdoor schools I will go visit, and they would like to visit us. Also wanted to give you kind of a breakdown of some of the sessions I went to. I went to about 8 or 9 different sessions. I won't bore you with all of them, but I did want to highlight several of the ones that I think were really relevant for what we're doing. So one of them was how to hire a quality staff in the competitive job market, because one of the things that's facing not just here, but everywhere needs employees and everywhere needs people to be doing the actual work. And so this was able to provide some different avenues to be able to look at, several job boards that when we get time to posting jobs for the outdoor school at the NRC, that people who are interested in that often look at. Also went to one that was the Oregon Employability Skills and Outdoor School, and this was actually something a couple of years ago. I worked on the beginning phases of building the framework for the Oregon Employability Skills, and now they have broadened it to Reaching Outdoor School, because one of the things that they are seeing statewide is that high school students that are actually really good workers at outdoor school programs, and through that we can be then providing them some of the training and some of the job skills that they would need to be able to go beyond high school. And so that's something I'm very interested in, something I'm right now working on being able to work out for summer camp, is being able to use some of those employability skills, because really what I'm trying to do is be able to have our students go through the process of how do you fill out a job application? How do you ask people for a letter of recommendation? How do you go through and sit through an interview? That's something that most of our students don't have a lot of experience with. And if I can be providing that through the NRC, I think we're going to be better for it. And like I say, this provides some good framework for that. One of the other sessions I went to was implementing a new inquiry-based curriculum at outdoor school. And it was really just a roundtable discussion for all of us different outdoor programs to be talking about what we're doing. And I was actually really excited to see that a lot of what we're doing on days like Earth Day and Fall Festival, as far as having the schedule and then having students be really at the center of the learning, is right in line with what they're wanting to do for outdoor schools across the state. So it was a very rich and good conversation. And then we also, the last session that I'm going to highlight is communication tools and practices for marketing, outreach, and program summaries, which was something that for me was very informative as far as being able to understand the kind of background of what has to happen in order to become an outdoor school, and then what different schools that would be coming to us have to be doing. And so it provided me with the framework they use, which then can help us kind of tailor our message as far as we're trying to, in the coming months and years, reaching out to schools to come up and use our outdoor school facility. So any questions about that first section? I know it's kind of a lot.
I think that's amazing. And I really like the job training, interview, resume, like, I'm not sure about, yeah, I mean, tying that into the NRC, because a lot of our students really could use help with that.
Yeah. And it's something, there's a couple of them that, because right now I'm trying to seek out some grant funding to pay them to come and help out at summer camp. There's a couple of students who every day ask me if I've gotten it. And one of the things I'm trying to train them is it's not as simple as just filling out a paper and then the next day I have a check in hand. So
Is
I'm
that where
teaching
you're
them
still trying to
patience.
pay them to work over the summer?
Yeah.
Because I know Kira loved that a
Yeah.
lot.
So I have money to be able to pay adults to come out and help, but I don't yet have funding to be able to pay students to come out and help. So like I say, I've got several other grants that I'm looking at, so I will hopefully know in the coming months for that.
Okay.
Changing gears kind of completely, wanted to talk about some of the site improvements that we're doing down at the NRC. So over the past few months that I've led a crew of students working to prepare several different parts so that we can be getting our final inspections on both the yellow and orange houses. So most notably the one-way signs, the entrance and exit signs, the stop signs have all been installed around the NRC. And so one of the things that we are going to be having to do is make sure that we have one-way traffic through there. When it's smaller groups, we maybe would have a little bit more flexibility, but anytime that we're opening it to the public, we need to make sure that we're in compliance with what the county requirement is, which is a one-way road through there. This past weekend, I also worked with two students, Kayla and Captain, both two of our juniors, and we were able to work on the process of beginning to install the parking bumpers. So one of the requirements was having 50 designated parking spots, and we have that now with what we were able to lay out. And 4 of those are designed for handicap vehicles, 1 on either side of the pavilion, as well as 1 in the orange house, by the orange house, and 1 by the yellow house. And so right now, about half of the parking bumpers have already been installed, and the other half we're still waiting on being able to get the wood that we need. I'll have more about that in just a minute. But this is one of the big milestones that I've been ready to do and excited to do all winter, because it's something that I have the plan, but being able to actually get out there and run a tape measure and teaching students about how to measure out where to put them. If we have a 6-foot bumper for a 10-foot wide spot, where do we need to put it so it's centered? So it was actually a lot of fun. I realize the picture I included there, those are not installed completely yet. You'll notice they're not in a perfectly straight line. Didn't realize that till after I'd taken the picture.
That's so under Carlo.
I know it is.
I
And that would
like
annoys
it.
me.
I like it because it shows that high school students were working on it.
That's true. So it'll all be straightened up before they're installed. Couple of the other things we have going on down there. Chris Mathis is continuing to work on the public restrooms, and we've worked out that he's targeting to have that completed for and ready for use on Earth Day, which is coming up in April. And Cy Kerrigan's woodshop class is in the process of building a garden shed that we're going to be placing in the food forest. So we got some gravel that we put down, and now his students are actually starting to, that it's a kit that we had purchased from Home Depot. And so the idea is that they can be putting the floor together, and then once that's together, putting the walls together. There's a couple of little hiccups, but it sounds like we're going to be getting that also completed by Earth Day. And then Don Hammond, one of our community members, has volunteered to come out with one of his work crews to help us clear away some of the larger trees that fell. So the windstorm we had a couple of weeks ago, there was some pretty big downfall. There was a couple of trees that were actually almost 12 inches in diameter that I don't really have the student manpower to be able to move. So he has volunteered his crew to come out and move some of that. Some of it we're going to be able to cut up and salvage into lumber. And then some of it is going to be the aforementioned parking bumpers for the stuff that's not quite as big in diameter. And so this is something that I'm excited to be able to see us being able to put some of these trees to good use and not just burning them. And we also needed the parking bumpers, so it works out. And it'll be a safer environment for students if we can have that all cleared up so that they're not wanting to walk all over it and poke their eyes out with sharp sticks. Because generally that's a bad thing. And then I wanted to quickly give just a quick little plug for our Fire Safety Community Forum, which is coming up on April 5th. And it will be from 10 o'clock till 1 at the NRC. So the community is all invited. So that's also all of you out in the sphere watching on YouTube. And so this is a chance to be able to learn about what students in my wildfire safety class have been working on. And they will be actually the ones leading most of it, as well as some of the guest speakers that we've had in class. So last week, they were very fascinated. We had a former Forest Service employee who was an entomologist come out, and he showed him his bug hat, which had several different types of bugs, looked like they were crawling out of his head when he wore the hat. And so the students thought that would be fun to have him come out, as well as some of the other guest speakers. And so there will be refreshments served. And anyone who has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me, and I would be happy to get you more information. But otherwise, that's coming up, and I will have a lot more details at our next meeting.
And that's Friday.
That is a Friday.
I just put it in my calendar, so we're inviting the entire community to that?
Yep.
Awesome, I will be there.
And it's
Okay.
something that I'm also working as one of the other hats that I wear is the Community Forest Liaison to Education. And so
Yes.
the Community Forest would like to also be out there as
The
participating.
commission wants
Yeah,
to
the
go
commission.
to, okay, perfect.
So
That's exciting.
any questions on
So
that?
that's the Friday after after we're done with spring break.
Yes, correct.
It's an in-service.
It is an in-service day, which I didn't realize when we scheduled it, but that's when our speakers could be there. So,
I'll be there.
any questions on that?
It's all really exciting, thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gearing up for a big, busy spring, but that's what we like. So,
Thank you for everything.
thank you all.
Okay, so 3.2 superintendent report, Dr. Long.
Well, before I get to some of the numbery stuff, in your, on your packet, I gave you a copy of the latest newsletter that went out the 1st of April. And it's shorter because we're trying to move the date back when we submit them so they can actually go out on near the 1st of the month. And it highlighted, as you may recall, we actually had a big snowstorm in January, but you wouldn't know it the last 3 weeks, the way the weather's been. So I talked to people about that, gave them information of how we handle severe weather, and yet if family is snowed in and they feel it's unsafe, they just need to keep their kids home. They don't risk it if you're feeling peril, but if we can have school run, we're gonna do it. We actually only had 1 day, but we were delayed by 2 hours, so we've had no snow days to make up so far, which makes life a lot easier for families and for everyone. And our girls' middle school basketball was highlighted in this, and tonight is their last home game. Wednesday is their last game of the season. And then I put important needs down below there. I'm trying to give people in the community heads up of things that are coming up over the next couple of months, and we'll keep that tradition up. We do, as noted in the title, we do get a bonus school day this year because February has 29 days in it. So we have school that day, so we're gonna work our kids hard. That being said, if you look in your packet, there is a chart with our enrollment. And I think you can see based on that chart that we seem to have flattened out. We actually are up 1 student. I think we're going to continue to see some fluctuation there. We had a student transfer in January from Mississippi, and she had enough credit. She technically didn't need to start until 2nd semester, but she said, I want to find out what your school's about. So we built her a mini schedule, and she visited all the classes and electives, and decided for 3rd quarter, she was going to take the 2-hour welding block as her elective. So she's joined the welding class. We had 4 students in that last quarter, and we now have 8. They're working on several projects. I challenged them to come up with the ironworks that would make for a very impressive entryway to between the shops and the main building that people used to come to football games through there. And some metal work. We have our plasma cutter up and running so they can do some artistic designs with that. And then they're gonna put something between the shop and the gym so that'll match that. So that end of the building will look a lot nicer than just chain link fences. And then the third thing they have on their docket is to build a new entryway over on the far side of the football field where you come from. I'm trying to think of the right, is it Oak? It's Oak Street,
Okay.
that area, the fence there.
Over by Skips.
Yeah, over in that area. So just make those as sort of welcoming and impressive to guests who come to highlight our natural resources themes and secure the place a little bit better. The other project they're working on are the handrails for the ramps, the ADA ramp down at the Yellow House, the Orange House down at the NRC. We have to get that in order to meet code, and so they're building that. Our enrollment, as you can see here, that senior bumped us up 1. We have had a little bit of movement. We had a student who needed to be in a specific type of program in another district, and so we worked with that school to help him transition to that so he would have support until he's 21. And it allows him to be in an environment. I actually stopped and saw him about a week and a half ago when I took records down, and he was announced to everyone. Dr. Long was there to see him, and helped him practice how to do push-ups in his PE class, and so yeah, in a good place. But other things I have on the list here, I reached out to Mark Dennett, who has helped us the last 5 or 6 years with our marketing campaigns, and while he's doing less of that, he said, of course I will help you guys, and he is updating his proposal, and we're looking at some type of open house to welcome families, not only within our district, but outside our district who want to come see our school. If we time it right, we'll have good weather in May. We'll have finished up a lot of things at the NRC. And we haven't set a date. Last year it was May 12th. So it's going to be somewhere mid-month, but we got to look at the calendar on everything. And we're going to update our materials. He's already working on what the media outreach will be. OSBA, I think I shared at the last special meeting that they're going to come down and have a writer from their newsletter they do visit us on Earth Day and to take that event in at the NRC because they think that feature is a pretty interesting feature for a small school. And then, of course, our monthly newsletter will continue to highlight things. We will do some advertising on Facebook and update our website. And so I see there are two targets here, communities. There are people who've been in our community who over the last few years have just stepped back a little bit from our school. We think that in the meantime, we've put some things in place. We just want them to come take another look so they'll know what we're about. And then there are some families down in the valley that are looking for the more intimate class sizes that we have and aren't aware of some of the things we're doing around welding, construction skills, and even the work experience opportunities we've had the last couple of years, and that Ben talked about with some of the summer stuff too. That kids really can get pretty credible job experience, a little bit of pay, and a great recommendation if they work hard, if they come and join what we're doing here. And then along with that, I just wanted to update you that I did submit the SIA grant agreement after you all met, and the state now has that. That's significant because that was a couple $100,000 a year for the next 2 years of targeted supports that we need. And then we're pursuing another grant that was made available to 67 school districts in Oregon, and we're one of them. And it's focusing on additional supports and counseling and mental health and things like that. And it's from 120,000 to 265,000. Kind of depends on how many people are successful in getting the grant. So we'll build a proposal that would spend some of that or all of that, but make investments in our school community that will help kids. But that's due the end of this month, and we have a team that's actually meeting tomorrow to pull that all together. I think I shared briefly that I had released funds from the state technical assistance planning grant program for long-range facilities planning, because they said if you release the funds, you can reapply, and the window's right now, so I'm going to submit that tomorrow. And what I submitted last year was for $25,000, and this year it's for $40,000. And what that allows to do is to contract with some people who are experts in long-range facility planning for schools, and to have our new facilities manager a part of that process. So we really can line out a 20-year plan for capital improvements, roof replacement, the types of things that we need to be doing and that are important. As you all know, about 5 or 6 years ago, we completed a seismic upgrade on our high school, but that was a seismic upgrade. It didn't repair aging infrastructure like sewer pipes or things like that. And right now I'm looking at replacing the main sewer line underneath the high school building, because I get it as a cast iron. I'm not trying to think what it's made out of. One kind of goes like this, and things don't quite flow well like that. So we've been having similar experiences. So that's going to happen over the next month or so. And that's about a $5,000 ticket for us to just replace that main line. And then we will this summer dig up in the football field the remaining part from where that comes out of the building to where the new sewer line is that the city had installed further across the field, and replace the concrete pipe that's in there that has had trees grow into it, where roots grow and all that, and that everything should flow a lot more smoothly on our campus because of that. So just some of those infrastructure things that you do once every 20 or 30 years, but when you need them done, you need them done. So if you can schedule and plan funding for them, then you can take care of them, and they're traumatized by sudden surprises. Other things along with that, I've been talking some with Mrs. Foray about other possibilities for our school, and one of the things that she's exploring is a way for us to consider an alteration in our charter that would allow us to do some hybrid online things along with our program, and that would allow us. We have a couple students who really wanted to stay with us, but they were looking for something where they could participate in part of our program and do some things online. We are not an online school, but I think we learned from the pandemic that that addition of offering online type access to certain classes actually works for some kids really well, and they can accelerate. We have a student right now who will finish high school in 3 years because of work he's doing, not online sort of, but really it's because he's taking RCC classes. And we just need ways to advantage our students when they're up here to customize. We're small enough we can customize for students, but we really don't want to become an online school. That, there are schools like that out there, but that doesn't build the type of community we think is important for this town to have in its local public schools. So we'll keep you posted on that, and I'm excited to see the types of, I think you probably all are aware that Karina's experience before she came to us is she actually worked extensively with an online school, so she has some expertise there that I think will help us figure out how to create a hybrid. And that may require an alteration to the charter, and you all serve as the charter board and the school district board, so that will come to you when we get some recommendations. I also was informed by our high school boys wrestling coach that we had 2 of our wrestlers in district. They both placed 6th in their weight categories. Mark Cruz and Logan Acosta, they're sophomore and a junior. And we're really excited because we're small but mighty when that occurs. And next weekend is the girls district tournament. We have 3 girls wrestling in that, Brianne Williams, Leah Knighting, and Autumn McGraw. And Brianne has actually done really well in wrestling, and she has a really good shot at placing in districts. For the guys, they take the top 3 to go to state. For the girls, my understanding is they're going to take the top 5. So we may actually get one of our girl wrestlers going to state, which would be like really cool. And she's a junior, so we, bodes well for even next year. That's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. Just give you a flavor of the variety of things that we're working through. I did consult with Cognia, which is our accrediting association, and they've rescheduled our accreditation visit for the end of April, and we'll be submitting all our documentation by early April, so that it's one person who actually does the review, and I'll keep you posted on that. So, any questions for me on anything you heard?
These girls are wrestling females, right? They're not wrestling the guys.
They are wrestling females, but we do have co-ed practice. They wrestle mostly with each other, but there are some girls that actually were wrestling in the guys' tournament previously until they got enough girls wrestling they could create their own bracket. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting to see a district girls wrestling meet going on. Yeah. And that's, I think, up in Cottage Grove this weekend.
That's super exciting. And then I just have one comment on the hybrid, which I know we talked about this a lot, like during COVID and stuff. So if that is something we're going to pursue, I would really want to hear teacher feedback on it. I know previously some of our staff was, adverse.
Yeah, well, it's interesting when you're growing, you can be pretty particular. When you're not growing, you need to be more thoughtful about what you get upset about. But we definitely will be talking with our staff, because it could result in us utilizing some staff differently, or if we grow, hiring some staff for some specific purposes, And so there are always opportunities in that. That's what I tell people. Don't think about what you're going to lose, but think about what you and we might gain in that process. It keeps our program alive and vibrant, and serving kids and families and moving forward. Oregon's losing kids in population. We're down another 1% in enrollment across the state.
Okay.
And Ashland, several districts are making cuts in staffing already, announcing those for next year. And that's the hard part. When you shrink, you lose programs and people, and we have to be really thoughtful. I mean, our margin, we don't have to actually add very many students to stabilize what we're doing. Okay. And a few more would actually give us some muscle. So I believe there's some legislation occurring right now at the state legislature around altering the funding formula, because there is concern about how rural areas are impacted even more than large districts. And so we'll see how those things shake out, and Angie will guide us through that when we get to building a budget for next year and our projections and all that. So
Yeah, I'm not adverse to it at all. I'm just curious how the pulse on the staff on the topic.
Yeah. I would say, and also parents are important in that,
Well, yeah.
That's what they want, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Okay, so we are at the charter school updates. Dr. Long, Ms. Frey.
I'm gonna defer to Principal Frey.
Fairly quiet this last month, not too many things going on. We had a couple of outside organizations come in. So for instance, last week, Mercy Flights came with their ambulance and talked to the littles. I think it was first and second grade, so that was cute. It was actually kind of funny because it was a student I hadn't taught before. That is now a big kid. I'm like, you're awesome. So it was kind of cute. But she came up and she talked to the kids. They got to get in the ambulance. They got to look around. They got to understand like what an EMT is and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty neat. They really liked that. And so they do stuff like that. The second grade is going to have, I think this week is the Lost but Found. There's like a little program that, I don't know exactly what they do, but they come every year and they talk to kids about, like if something happens or they get lost or what to do and how to find your parents and all that kind of stuff. So we do have stuff going on all the time. So it's really cool that the teachers are putting forth that effort. It's Valentine's week. So we have Spirit Week. They're dressed up in all kinds of silly things this week. And then the 6th and 7th grade of middle school is going to have a little dance for themselves, but it's not a Valentine's dance, it's a dance. It is, but it isn't, because they don't want to make it where you have to bring a boyfriend. It's just a hangout kind of thing. So we're very particular, but I think it's going to be fun. We're going to do it in the library. They're going to set it up and make some games and they've already been working on their decorations and activities and all that. So we're trying to get more middle school, them to have some more stuff that's just theirs. So that's really cool. I think it was last week, I had Rogue Health come and talk to the elementary staff at our staff meeting. We, as you know, we're working and partnering with Rogue Health over here with some things with mental health and the clinic and all that kind of stuff. So I had, basically, they're the directors of each of their fields. They came and talked. So it was the mental health person. It was I don't know what they're calling it. They're changing their name. Like the community service. No, I can't remember.
Outreach or?
It's something like that.
Yeah, is it Kim?
No, it's not Kim. Her name's Rochelle.
Okay.
They do, so for instance, it's, if you need help with, literally anything under the sun, they either help sit you down and do it with you, or they find you the resources, and it's family, so it's not just about the students, about the whole family, but they're like liaisons to kind of help you bridge the barriers of anything you don't know how to do, what to do, where to get the stuff.
We're getting you the help you need.
Exactly, finding the help you need. So there's that branch, and they're changing their name, that's why I can't remember. And then there's the clinical part. So I had met all those 3 parts, and they came and discussed like kind of what they do. They gave some brochures, and they had come to the landing activity that was a couple weeks ago. I got a hold of them and I told them, because they want to start coming to more of our stuff as a community, so they can let everybody, not just their kids, everybody see what we're doing. And so they came to that. They're going to come to a couple more of our school stuff when parents are coming at conferences and things, so they can get more information out to parents, so they can really understand what they do, so they can help support us and the family. So I'm really excited about that. They've been really amazing. Let's see, we've had a lot of sicknesses going around, staff and students, and it's every sickness under the sun. So that's January. It wasn't even December. January was the worst. We're getting out of it. It's not as bad now that we move in February, but January was horrible. I don't know, any sickness you can think of, everybody has just been going around and around. So I'm glad to hopefully get out of that and move forward, because that was really tough. And it was things that were lasting a long time too. So we're just working on wash our hands, make sure if you have fever, don't come to school. That's staff and students, and just trying to get it because we're so small, you just circle it around and around. So that was a little bit of a challenge this last month, but I think we're finally moving out of that. And then, so the last thing, and in my haste, because I went to the basketball game, I forgot I had paperwork, but maybe it's best because these 2 aren't here and I want to make sure that they're here. I'll bring it to you guys next month. So in school districts and bigger school districts, they have multiple arms and branches, I guess you want to call, of things that the school district does, right? So it's not just about curriculum, it's not just about learning and teaching, but we've got what usually they'll call student services, or they'll call special services. And those are the things that are still function to support students, but they're not necessarily the academic piece of it. And so I'm kind of in charge of that and trying to build that. And so I wanted to, and I had a visual and I forgot it. I'm so sorry. I'll bring it next time. Of all the branches of pieces and parts, there's 5 of them really that we're working on. So it's gonna show you that, and then each month I'm gonna kind of go over each of them in more detail and answer questions that you have. And so the 5 things that we are doing for our student services is the mental health piece. Okay, so that talks about, counseling and our social emotional stuff and all that under there. We've got special education, which is still a branch of academic, but it's its own little thing. We've got then 504 plans, which is not exactly like special education, but it still serves students that have, usually it's medical things that are going on. We have talented and gifted, which is another branch. And then we have McKinney-Vento and foster. So McKinney-Vento is homeless youth and the foster care. So those are kind of the 5 branches that we also additionally support, help students, families, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll bring you the one pager that I created next time, and then I will specifically talk about each of those topics each month so that you guys can get a broader picture of all the parts and pieces that go along with the school district and all the things that are really, really important that we help support and do.
Yeah, this is like the top 5 minus education, basically, right?
Right, so
Yeah.
that doesn't, so the student services don't fall in line, that's another part of it.
Yeah.
Though these things fall in line with that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's, I think, all I can, we got 2 new students, kindergarten and first grader,
I
this
met them.
last month. I have another student, 2 very young kids that actually went to Butte Falls. And now they want their little guy to come to Butte Falls, so it looks like
Aw.
they're probably gonna have a kindergartner. They're gonna enroll him soon, and then I think I actually have another family that has asked, I think that's a middle schooler. So we're getting some interest in
Upward.
some families coming in.
Good.
Yeah, so we are up a little bit, we're at 156, but I think if we get all these, couple other firms, probably gonna have 2 or 3 more families coming in.
Good.
So,
And then I just share with you, the high school also has some things going on this week, and particularly the students and staff there'll be a dance on Thursday night at the community hall. And student government and is pulling that together, and we'll have teachers who will be chaperone will be there also, just keep it a safe place. And then there's a student, senior who's doing a senior project in March. And it's a lock-in, and our staff will also support that. And that's pretty amazing because that's all night. It's an all night thing. And so I'm not gonna be there all night. I'm on the morning shift. I come in at 6. Actually, I come in at 6 and bring donuts, so it's like you're so just some fun things going on, to go alongside our academic program.
Yeah, actually, tomorrow morning, we're doing speed data book at the library with 8th grade class.
Mhm.
Gonna be super fun, and I've never done that.
We're starting up smart reading on Wednesday,
Oh, yeah.
and our 6th and 7th
Thank you. I
grade
forgot about that.
students have volunteered. 15 volunteers to be readers to our kindergarten and first graders. So every Wednesday, it'll be probably 25 minutes of reading with kindergartners and then with first graders. And the students through SMART are able to then pick a book that they can put their name in and take home and put in their library. So they should have 14 books by the end of May. That's in their own personal library. That's funded by Smart Reading. So, yeah.
Are we doing the older students reading to the little kids again?
yeah,
Because I know my
Sixth and
kids have
seventh
always loved that.
Yeah.
Get your reading buddies. Or,
Mhm.
Yep. Awesome.
I think that's all I have, but thank you, I forgot about smart reading, apologize for that, yes.
My
That is
kids
all.
have always loved that. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Frey.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at 3.4, review of payment of bills. Myself, I did look through it a little bit. I don't have any questions. Angie, you're with us, right?
I am here, and I have Dan's questions that Dr. Long sent over to me. If you're ready for those.
I had 2. One was on page 2, Nooner Davidson, 2,300.
That's the final payment for audit services.
Okay. I noticed, they were on the last month's as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But this is the final.
Yes, I'm double checking and confirming, but yes, final billing.
Okay. And then last one on page 5, the unemployment insurance 2704. Is this a new claim or is this a continuing existing claim?
It is a continuing existing claim for the October 1 through December 31st quarter.
Okay. Does that cover the whole quarter or is there more to come for that quarter?
That's the whole quarter for that one.
Okay. That was all I had.
Okay. So Dan had on page 2 the OETC, and that is our Microsoft 365 licenses for students and staff.
And it's mostly for staff because we use Google products for our kids. I think we have a
It's
couple-
21 licenses for staff and actually about 800 for students when I looked at it. So,
Okay.
But
we might-
it's so that when it fluctuates, we have enough to add, and then there are some staff that can utilize those as well. But it's something we look at annually and confirm those numbers.
what else
And then
you
on page 3, Power School Group, that's our school messenger online program.
got? Is that a subscription rate? That's not monthly, is it?
That's our annual subscription.
So it's how we get out information for everybody. We can send out all email, call,
all email, all text?
text, call,
Call, yeah,
to link it
let's
to
see.
everybody. So if ever there's a snow day, or you can pick and choose, but you can do it all.
It's very effective, Dan.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
And then the one right below that, Preferred Plumbing, that was cost for the high school drinking fountain.
That's the new drinking fountain in the gym that has the ball and water on it.
Yes. And then our final two from Dan are both on page 4 under the NRC. And the first one was Bean Electrical for $5,537. That was the note on the invoice says electric and lighting for the restrooms.
Yes.
And then for Rogue Plumbing, $5,200. I apologize, I don't really know what this means, but it's top out plumbing for the restrooms. So there's some plumbing for our restrooms.
Yeah, there's several phases in the restroom piece. There's the in-ground stuff, and then there's what you bring up. Has to be inspected, and then we put the wallboard up and everything, and then there's a final inspection that occurs. But each of those phases requires some plumbing work.
So those were all the questions that I had received. I don't know if there are any other questions on anything else.
We made a couple other investments over the break. We bought a new walk-behind snow blower. It's like a 30 inch or a little wider because we need to be able to clean our sidewalks off on our playground and everything. And so as soon as we bought it, we haven't had any snow since then. So that was our way of making sure we could get an extra year of use out of it, I guess. And then is the next one the financial report?
It is.
Okay.
So then we'll move on to the financial summary, Ms. Brownson.
So it's been a busy month for me. January always feels like a busy month when we come back from the winter break. So rolling after the audit, I've just been taking a look at all of our annual numbers. I will tell you that things are looking good. Right now, we are holding steady. So no concerns financially. Ending fund balance is looking good at this point, as well as the expenditures. So that's good news, especially after audits come in. So looking good. I was just at a conference last week in Salem about budgeting and different things. And of course, there's always the legislative updates, the unemployment updates, all of that depressing information. And what I can tell you from that is we're still in limbo. So they're still trying to get all the guidelines to us for the new unemployment and what that's going to look like for district budgets. We don't have updated state school fund estimates yet for next year or even again for this year. So statewide enrollment is dropping, which is kind of good news for us since we're seeing some of that trend as well. So just a lot of good things, but at the same time, a lot of unknowns that I'm just watching. I do plan on being in the district in March for the meeting, and then hopefully for some time with administration to start those budgeting discussions, hoping maybe by then we'll have some preliminary numbers. But other than that, we're plugging along and doing good. So.
Thank you. Any questions, you guys? Thank you so much. Okay, 3.6 ESSA, side council, parent involvement. Ms. Freeman. I hear Julie talking to
We
someone
can't hear you,
else.
Julie.
You're muted.
Not now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing to report in that area, but as soon as basketball is over, I plan on reeling in some parents so we can kind of start our parent group again. I want them to roll with it. I just want to get it going, and then we can catch up on some of our title responsibilities that way too. And then I need to talk to all the board members, but I want everybody to hear about that jurisdiction, the ethics report that you have to do every year. That's coming up. So as soon as everybody's here at the end, maybe I'll just throw that out. Okay.
Julie, when you want to do a meeting for the site council parent involvement, just let me know.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Yes, I do want to do that. Yes.
Okay.
That's all I have.
3.10,
I'm
is
done.
that it?
That's it.
Okay. Sorry, Julie. 3.7, Butte Falls Community School Partnership, Mr. Murphy.
We are functioning normally, and we're making some electrical improvements to the lighting over there that have been delayed for years in order to comply with the county's requirements or demands.
Good.
You know, maybe it'll make them happy this time. And it's been ongoing issues for a long time.
And I'm starting to see requests pop up from the community for events to use our facilities. And I'm really pleased that the landing, that partnership, they're going to be sponsoring several activities, one in March, a couple in late spring, early summer, where they are the entity of record sponsoring that, which brings our community together, and they'll be using our facilities. So I think one of those is a memorial service for Darwin Moore,
Yes.
who has been an institution in this town, or was for many years, many generations long,
Yes.
from coaching and a lot of things, and the landing is sponsoring that. And that'll be, they'll be doing the publicity, but it'll be in our gymnasium, I think the first Saturday of spring break. So those are signs of life I'm really happy to see, because that's when you know your community's starting to grow back, things that we lost through the pandemic. So appreciate what Angie is doing and the board there, and just, that's what partnerships are for.
Well, you guys recently got a grant where all preschool is free for all the kids, right?
That's
So that-
what we're doing until, I think, June.
Wow.
through the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
We have enough funding in that area to do that.
Nice.
So they don't have, the parents don't have to pay. That makes some of them happy.
Well, yeah, because especially being we're in such a high poverty rate town. So, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Who retains ownership of that facility?
We own it.
They're
The landing.
Community
Not the school.
partnership.
No, it's not, no, we're just a partner with them.
Okay, yeah.
We
So
are
it's
a private
standalone.
entity.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
Mm,
I wasn't sure how much connection there
Yeah,
was.
no, that's great. Yeah, good question.
I think it's basically nonprofit, right, Dan? Is it
It is a
nonprofit?
nonprofit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, 3.8, public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We had no request to comment to the board via the email either. Feedback at Falls email.
Okay, so I don't see anything under old business. So 5.0, new business, 5.1, resolution 2403, classified employee appreciation week, March 4th through the 8th, 2024.
In your packet is a resolution with some language. The board every spring participates in the statewide acknowledgement of our classified employees and expresses appreciation. The week for that this year is I had it on here, I lost it.
March,
It's the first week of March, isn't it? March
March
4th
4th through the 8th.
Yeah, and so this is a resolution, a proclamation, and if you all read it in the record and approve it, we will share this with our classified employees and honor them now.
Which we really appreciate all of our employees. So do you guys want to like take turns reading the lines? Is that normally what we do?
Sure. Board chair usually starts off.
Yeah.
Then we go clockwise.
I was thinking, are you guys okay taking turns reading?
yeah,
Okay. So thank you to our employees. Classified Employee Appreciation Week, Resolution 24-03. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world, and
whereas classified employees are the backbone of our public education system, and
Whereas classified employees work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members. And
Whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students.
And whereas the community depends upon and trusts classified employees to serve as students, and
whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students throughout their school years.
now therefore be it resolved that the Butte Falls School District Board of Directors proclaims March 4th through March 8th, 2024 to be Classified Employee Appreciation Week, and
be it further resolved that the Butte Falls Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication of and hard work of these individuals.
so a motion will put this into effect. Motion second, positive vote.
I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution 2403.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5.2 is SOESD Local Service Plan 2024, 2025. So I actually thought that Kirsten and Bonnie would be with us today. You guys probably already know what the ESD is doing for us on a yearly basis. Mark and Dan, pretty familiar.
So each year, the ESD brings to the superintendents sort of questions about how they can better service, to put together a service plan. The superintendents get their input, and then say, okay, we think it's informed, we're willing to take it to our boards. It does actually be required, because this is like a consortium, the approval of school district boards, and the local service plan is how the ESD will provide those services. And if you open up the thick document you have here, you'll see that there's a table of contents, and I point that out because the the sections that impact us most directly in terms of services are on page 13, 14, 16, and 21 around administration, business services, school improvement services, student services, and technology and media services. And under school improvement services, that is where the technical support comes to us to help us with all these grants we've been getting.
Yeah.
There would be no way we could pull that off but for that resource. And then under student services, that is where we get a lot of technical support around special ed. We contract for a mental health counselor. We get assistance for autism specialists, and actually they, between those two, there's a lot of professional development that we could not afford that we access at no cost through the ESD because that's what the need is of the region. So there's an executive summary in here with some nice graphics, and I think page 4 has a summary, and 5 those specific things. What I would tell you is this just continues to be refined, and my recommendation request is that you would approve the local service plan so I can report that back to them. And once they have the approval of districts, they take it to their board and then they approve it. And that actually then directs how they're going to use their resources and the money that comes to them on our behalf.
Yeah, and I asked Julie about this earlier because we do this every year and I often forget. And so we contract with them on a yearly basis. We pay them for their services, but they, this is a short list, but the ones that are more important to me that they're providing us with is like the subs, educational materials, professional development for our staff. 2 of my favorites is they're providing our behavioral specialist and the life skills coach that we have at our school. I've met both of them, spoken with them. They are amazing. We're so lucky to have them, especially like the addition of the life skills person.
Yeah.
Super cool. Special ed services, psychology and counseling services, and more importantly, because I work for the town too, is they're assisting us with a lot of our grant writing, not necessarily doing it for us, but assisting us with it, which at the town, if you've ever had to sit and do like a grant, like Trish was just working on one, it was like 60 pages long, really hard to understand. So there's a lot of really amazing services they're providing for us. I just wanted to make sure to say that.
Well, and what I would tell you is we do contract for some of these using grants, but 5% of the state school fund goes to the ESD. We get 95% as, among public schools. Then they are supposed to use 90-some% of that for services for the school districts. It's just they deliver them. It's more economical when you have an entity that can provide, like, we couldn't hire an autism specialist because we'd have to pay for a whole one, right? Or we're getting one. So
We
they
have
coordinate.
mentor services for
Teachers.
teachers.
That's right. when we're
I have a
training.
mentors for administrators. We use them for professional development that through their grants and everything they do, it's free. So we have used so many of free to us things that we would not be able to pay for and get that has been absolutely phenomenal. They are really great. We would, as a small school district in rural small school districts around, the SOESD is really essential to supporting us and helping us because we couldn't do a lot of the stuff and pay for a lot of the stuff without them. So
Do we get everything we want from them, or are there shortfalls?
You know what? We don't get everything we need because we don't have, because we leverage all the resource they have that they
Okay.
quote owe us. Then we actually have some money that we get to buy stuff off the menu. Then we use grant money to buy things.
Okay,
And then if there's something that isn't covered by that, we then cover it out of our general fund.
okay.
So they're the best deal as far as getting those type of services. And
So the service plan that we're
yeah,
buying, that's like a package, like a cable TV package per se.
it's
If
a
you want
menu.
Above and beyond, you gotta.
Right. But not every school district uses everything equally.
Right.
But their plan is built because then we put in for how we want to purchase services or whatever, or use the things they have that they are obligated to give us. And you would have to have a huge administrative staff to run all this otherwise. So it's an efficiency.
It's specialty.
yeah, you pick and
service.
choose what you need and then they bill you. What's great is they also bill you for what you use,
Mhm.
not, because we have to guesstimate on
Right,
some of this stuff. And so we're like, oh, we need this many hours for the year. So like special education services,
Right.
it's a guesstimate. And they will only bill us for what we actually use.
Oh, nice.
So which is,
Yeah.
yes, very nice.
They
And so-
only pay for what you need.
Exactly. So
Okay.
even if you overestimate or you underestimate, you can scale down or you
Okay.
can bump up,
Yeah.
but you're still only paying. And then they work with us really, really well with all their people with that. So that is,
Okay.
it's a really nice thing.
So it sounds like it's favorable. It's not just they're the only provider.
Right,
So it
no,
wasn't that they're-
They're really great.
And the state designed it because otherwise we would have to go out in the private sector and deal with a whole bunch of different people.
Right.
And they're able to bargain on our behalf
And
for
contracts.
services and contract.
Sure.
And then if they contract with someone and it's not working out, we don't have all the personnel stuff to deal with. They take care of all that.
Right,
So,
right.
For us, it's a great deal.
Sounds.
It's a really great deal.
And I'm impressed with interactions I've had with some of the employees they're setting up here. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're quality people there, so.
Any other questions? Okay, I will make a motion to approve the SOESD Local Service Plan 2024-2025.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
thank
So
you.
that's what you do right here with the ballot.
That's what I do with the ballot. Yep.
Do we need to
No,
Do
you-
the ballot?
What you did is fine.
Okay. I don't see anything under personnel. 7.0 comments, future agenda items from the board. No. I'm gonna probably just say basically what I usually say. Super appreciate our staff, our administration. We're doing good things. Anybody has any questions? Email Dr. Long at the feedback.
At Buttefalls, k12.or.us. And it's in the newsletter too. We include that every time.
Okay. We don't have anything further. We could adjourn the meeting at 7:08.
Thank you, Angie.
Hi, Angie.
Thank you.
Good night, you guys.
Night.
Sign these two things.
That's a pretty quick meeting for us.
Oh, good job, everybody.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
How come I can't do
English
this?
School District. That's not right.
Just leave the
That's
call.
what they sent.
Click on the-
Oh,